So that's kind of cool, I guess. What the fuck are these for? Just when you thought we were done with the FXRK, we're back. Kind of. Nothing really major happening right now, but I did want to get a new air cleaner for this, and I have a new exhaust on the way. The air cleaner I got is just the S&S Stealth. Just get a little bit more air into the engine than this stock intake. I got a hell of a deal on this thing, and then I went ahead and bought a 2-in-1 pipe for this. It's a Two Brothers Racing turnout, I think is what it's called. It has the turnout end cap on it. Obviously this exhaust isn't here yet. Still waiting on it to get finished. It'll probably be 1 to 2 weeks, so we'll see. Till then, I have a road trip this weekend, so I am going to throw this air cleaner on, and hopefully I notice some power differences. Probably not much at all from this air cleaner, but I know it'll look a lot better. So I never really understood, as I previously mentioned, the whole breather thing into the intake. But the intake on this bike, now this bike has like 11,000 miles on it, is absolutely filthy. It's just got all sorts of gunk. Okay, super straightforward with all that. Alright, so the intake I got, like I said, is the S&S Stealth intake. It just comes with a new aluminum backplate. It's already black, which is nice. Of course, a new filter. And then it has this velocity stack thing, probably some kind of way to make the airflow better or some shit. Gasket, and then a little baggie of hardware. Right, it's been a few weeks since the air intake install. I had a couple issues with the original exhaust that I bought for this bike. I originally bought the Two Brothers Racing turnout exhaust. And then it was like, oh, it's gonna be a week, oh, it's gonna be a week, oh, it's gonna be a week. So I was like, fuck you guys, just cancel the order. And I went ahead and bought a Thunderheader 2-in-1 chrome, found one in stock, ordered it, got it here within a couple days. So a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, I think it's gonna be better. I know a couple guys with Thunderheaders on their bikes, they sound awesome. There's no mistaking that sound at all. But where I'm at now is I have the old exhaust off the bike. I'm trying to get the oxygen sensors out right now. They're both kind of seized in here. I got one of them out. I got a little overzealous and took all the exhaust off already. But what I'm doing is depinning the O2 harness, the O2 sensor harness, and I'm running my wrench all the way through so I can grab it with the box inside of the wrench and get more leverage on it, because it's not wanting to come out at all. I've got a little diagram here of how the pins go back in. And we'll pop this one out and get it put into the Thunderheader. Dude, this bitch just completely fucking stripped. So it's been a few days since that last part you just saw, which was me completely stripping out this O2 sensor in the old exhaust. This is trash. Unfortunately, that means I had to buy a new oxygen sensor, which is this guy right here. So I'm gonna slap this in the new Thunderheader and then work on getting this thing all put back together. I also got new flanges and retaining rings for the exhaust and new exhaust gaskets. So that's all going to go on. Hopefully get this thing back together, lickety split, and fire this thing up. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to get this put in. There's a little bit of anti-seize on it, so this doesn't happen again. And I'm going to get the new flanges and retaining rings thrown on as well. And then we'll start bolting it back up. Okay, nice and tight. Don't want any leaks. Okay, so before the exhaust can get installed, the stock bracket right here on the transmission has to come off and be replaced with this one. So all these bolts are coming out, and this bracket. whole header is on. It's all loose, but all the 4 bolts are in loosely, and the clamp bolts in on the new bracket we put on, and the new bolts on the new bracket that I put on attached to the bottom of the transmission. The instructions say tighten up the 4 flange bolts first, and then this one, so I'm gonna do that one. Alright, so now we're going to install the collector or the muffler onto the exhaust, which is this bad mammoth hammer right here. Full length Thunderheader. Okay. Alright, so this is installed. There's no gap here. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this thing down. Alright, so that's the exhaust installed, the O2 sensors plugged back in and reran. Now I just got to put the heat shields on. This should be a ton of fun. I absolutely hate doing heat shields. It's an absolute nightmare, but we'll get there. Alright, so this came with a couple parts that I wasn't sure about. These 3 bolts, 2 are the same length and 1 long one. This round spacer, and then this block. Took me a minute to figure out where these go. I had to call a few people to figure it out, just because the instructions were super unclear. But let me show you. Alright, so right here is the rear floorboard mount. There's 3 holes there. Well, there's going to be 3 holes there once I take this out. This one is going to come out, and this bracket is going to go right there. The round one is going to go right here where the front floorboard bolt mounts. And then the 3 bolts are going to replace the bolts on the floorboard itself because they're actually longer. So I'm going to get this taken out and then throw all this stuff back on and get the floorboard mounted back on, and we'll be good to go. So now, my least favorite part of an exhaust, the heat shields. I do not like dealing with hose clamps. But, who knows, maybe these will be a little bit easier. Probably not. So we are fully installed. Heat shields went on with minor issues. It's just hard to do some of that stuff with my big hands. I didn't even put one of the hose clamps on because it was in a too tight of a spot. So it'll be alright, everything's real solid. Got everything degreased. For those that were not here when I got this bike, this has a fuel pack in it. So what I need to do is reflash that and re-upload a tune for a 2-to-1. I already did it for the intake and the old 2-to-2 exhaust, but now I need to change it up for a 2-to-1 exhaust and maybe add some, backfire popping. So I'm gonna go ahead and lower the bike. Oh, I need to get my bags put on too. I'll do that with it. Oh my god, you got so many on you.
Yeah. How many do you want?
Just one. Alright, so the ECU is getting reflashed right now. This fuel pack is super easy. It's not my favorite one, but it works. And it came with the bike, like I said. Eventually I want to get a Thunderheader on here with a wideband, but this thing actually has some pretty cool features on it. Yeah, all I had to do was find Thunderheader in here under the maps, add the 2-to-1 with the higher flow intake, and that's about it. I'm going to go in here and tweak a couple things, get it to where I want, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, so that's all done. So now start this puppy up.